I'm Jason. I'm about 17 years old. I'm not a particularly prominent figure at school. I'm not the quietest or most naive type, but I've never tried to be someone who commands everyone's attention, someone who stands out. I usually sit in the back rows, pretending to listen to teachers I don't like. But that day, I actually listened to everything they said. Because the person sitting across from us wasn't a teacher. At least, not the kind we knew. Mr. Keller came as a temporary teacher. Our main teacher had a serious illness. They told him he wouldn't be able to come to class for a long time because his treatment would take time. That's why Keller came. When he entered the classroom that first day, everyone was fixated on his age. He was young. Maybe not even 30. But his eyes were teary. Like he'd seen a lot. Or maybe he was deeply troubled. He announced the rules for the first period. The moment he started listing them, some of the class turned to him with disgust, while others looked at him with mocking eyes. But these weren't school rules. Phones are off, but not in their bags, on the desk. Screens facing me. Talking is forbidden. But thinking is allowed. No one can leave until the lesson is over. Even if a fire breaks out. Then everyone laughed. I laughed too. But he didn't. He looked at each of us, one by one. Then he wrote something on the board, "Truth hides in silence." The first day passed. The second day came. When Keller entered the classroom, I noticed something. There were no notebooks on his desk. Just a tape recorder. Old-fashioned. On cassette. He didn't say anything during the lesson. He just sat there and watched us. Every now and then, he turned on the device and recorded it. We don't know what he was recording. But a friend of mine, Mike, made fun of him. "Teacher, are you FBI? Or are you doing a podcast?" Keller didn't answer. But that day, Mike received a text message from the school, referral to the disciplinary board. The reason, inappropriate behavior toward a teacher. Mike was in shock. He went to talk to the principal, who showed him Keller's report. But what Mike had said wasn't in it. It just said, threatening behavior in class. On the third day, things got even weirder. When Keller entered the classroom, he locked the door. Yes, he really did. Then he handed each of us a piece of paper. It had only one question on it. "What are you hiding today?" No one answered. But I did. My fear. He collected the papers. Then he called me over. "Jason, you're honest. But honesty sometimes deserves punishment." I didn't understand what he meant at the time. But after class ended, 2 security guards stopped me in the hallway. "Mr. Keller directed you to the counseling room," they said. The counseling room is the quietest place in the school. No one usually goes there. I went in. Keller was there. "Jason, I want to do an experiment with you. It'll only take 10 minutes. I wanted to run away. But the door was closed. Keller handed me a headset. "Listen. Just listen." The voice coming from the headset was coming from our classroom. But from the past. The moment Mike was teasing me. But the voice was different. Mike was yelling. He was crying. I didn't do it. "Please." Keller looked at me. The truth hides in silence. But sometimes noise drowns out the truth. Keller hasn't come to school since that day. The principal said he transferred to another school. But the counseling room is still locked. Afterward, we students, and even our families, came to the school to complain. But no one answered the questions about Keller. Everyone practically wanted the incident forgotten, and it happened.
I'm Tyler. I'm 18. I was a week away from graduation. I'm usually a fickle person. This was the first time I'd ever finished something. And I thought this completion deserved a celebration. To celebrate, my friends and I came up with a little plan. But in the end, no one laughed. We had a tradition of pre-graduation pranks at our school. Last year, the students wrapped the principal's car in toilet paper. The year before that, they kept the school bell ringing all night. We had to do something, too. But it had to be a little more creative. The plan was simple. We'd hack into the school's computer system at night and change the location of the next day's exams. Just the location. Not the questions. Just a little confusion. No one would get hurt. At least, that's what we thought. Me, Josh, and Melanie entered the school at 2 a.m. Josh's dad was a technician at the school, so we used his card to get in. There were security cameras, but Josh said he could temporarily disable them. Melanie was computer savvy. The whole thing was over in 20 minutes. The exam locations were changed. A few classrooms, a few hours. That's all. The next morning, the school was chaotic. Students were in the wrong classrooms, teachers were angry. The principal was yelling. But no one really understood what was going on. We sat in the back, watching, trying not to laugh. But then, something happened. Melanie got a text on her phone. "We need to talk." Vice principal. Josh got the same text. And so did I. When we entered the room, it wasn't the vice principal, but the principal. 2 police officers were there. There's been an unauthorized access to our system. This is a crime. This is no joke. We were still insisting it was a joke. But the principal was dead serious. It's not just the exam locations. Student information has been compromised, too. Grades have been deleted. Some files have been sent to other schools. That's when we realized Melanie had opened the wrong files. Stupid Josh couldn't turn off the cameras either. And I just watched. The police took us in for questioning. Josh was crying. Melanie was silent. I still thought it was a joke. But then the principal pulled out a file. "This is the biggest security breach in the school's history. Your graduation has been canceled." Yes. Graduation was canceled. There was no ceremony. We didn't throw in the caps. Families didn't come. Just an email. "Your diplomas will be sent by mail." The incident didn't get reported in the press. The principal covered it up. Because the school's reputation would have been damaged. I wish I had just gotten my diploma and passed.
I'm Marcus. I'm 16 years old. I'm a substitute player on the school basketball team. I usually sit on the sidelines at games, carrying a towel, and sometimes I get applauded when I hand out a water bottle. But that night, I wasn't on the court. Unfortunately, I was in the locker room. Actually, being a locker room attendant is much easier than being on the court, but that's only true on ordinary game days. It was the regional tournament. The opposing team was strong, but we were more competitive. The game was tense. At the last second, our captain, Troy, committed a hard foul on an opposing player. A fight broke out. The referees broke it up. The game was over. We won. But in the locker room, the real game was just beginning. Troy was angry. He was yelling, "That idiot elbowed me." Did you see that? No one answered. Everyone was quietly dressing in the locker room. But then, a player from the opposing team, Darnell, accidentally entered our locker room. Well, he told us later that it was by mistake. The doors were jammed. At that moment, everything stopped. Troy walked up to Darnell. "What are you doing here?" Darnell apologized. He tried to walk back out, but Troy held him back. "You elbowed me. Now it's my turn." Everyone fell silent at that moment. But no one stopped him. Troy hit Darnell. One punch. Then another. The other players joined in. It was like a ritual. Like a ritual. I stood in the corner. I couldn't move. I just watched. Darnell was on the ground. There was blood. But no one helped. Then someone shouted, "Cameras." Everyone stopped. Panic began. Troy shouted, "Delete the footage." Now! The team's manager, Mr. Lewis, went to the camera room. He returned 10 minutes later. There's no footage. The system's down. The next day, the school was silent. Darnell was in the hospital. But no one spoke. The principal explained some footage was lost due to a technical glitch after the game. Troy received an award. Most valuable player of the tournament. I still think about that night. That silence. Those punches. The moment those cameras crashed. Nothing ever seemed like a coincidence to me. What was done was so unfair. A week later, alone in the dressing room, I noticed something in the wall. A small hole. A light was flickering inside. Was it a camera? A microphone? I don't know. But there was still a humming noise coming from that hole. As if someone was still watching. As if the night wasn't over.
I'm Madison. I'm 18. I was a month away from graduating high school. Everyone was crazy. Exams, college choices, breakups, last-minute deals. And of course, parties. So I threw a party. At home. I saw a weekend when my parents were out of town as an opportunity. At first, I had everything under control. Then, I forgot what control was. It was Friday night. The invitation was simple: music, drinks, fun. No drama. But high school life is built on drama. Among the guests were exes, secret enemies, fake friends. I knew them all. But knowing doesn't mean controlling. Around 10 p.m., the house was full. The music was loud. The drinks were mixed. Someone was pouring a vodka bottle into their juice in the kitchen. Someone was taking selfies in the bathroom. I was in the living room. I was laughing. But my eyes were always on one person, Zoe. Zoe, my best friend. Used to be. We'd recently fallen out. Why? A boy. Of course. Liam. He was dating me. Then he started talking to Zoe. Then he stopped talking to both of us. Classic. But I wanted Zoe to come too, just in case we ever made up. When Zoe came to the party, Liam was with her. It was a text message. But I don't read texts. I respond directly. At 11:30 p.m., an argument broke out in the kitchen. Zoe was yelling, "You've always been a control freak, Madison. Even this party is a display of your ego." I replied, "You've always been a shadow, Zoe, infiltrating other people's lives. Even Liam didn't want you." At that moment, everyone fell silent. Even the music stopped. Then Zoe ran out crying. Liam didn't follow. I didn't follow either. No one did. The night continued. But something was missing. Zoe didn't return. 1 a.m. passed. 2 a.m. The party broke up. The house fell silent. But Zoe was still gone. In the morning, I received a text message on my phone. It was from Zoe's mother. "Zoe didn't come home last night. She was at your party, wasn't she?" Yes, she was at the party. But then she wasn't there. We called. We texted. No answer. The police arrived. They asked, "How was she the last time you saw her?" She was crying. She was screaming. Then she left. But where? The neighbors hadn't heard anything. Zoe's phone had last signaled in the woods near my house. But nothing was found there either. Everyone at school was talking. But no one knew anything. The principal made a statement: the official investigation into Zoe's disappearance is ongoing. Please disregard the rumors. But there were rumors. Madison pushed her. There was a fight over Liam. Zoe was already depressed. I stayed silent because I didn't know what to say. I remember that night. But some moments are blurry. A week later, I found something in my backyard. Zoe's bracelet. It has a blue stone. She always wore it. But I thought she wasn't wearing it that night. So she was. So she's back. So the police took the bracelet. But nothing happened. Zoe's still missing. The party is still talked about. I'm still home. And I still think about that night. Sometimes I turn on the music. The same song. The one that was playing that night. As if Zoe will come back. As if she'll say something. But there's only silence. And the bracelet. And that last sentence: you've always been a control freak, Madison. Maybe she was right.